What's up, everyone? Welcome to Pat's Chat. I'm Doug Kyed, joined as always by Michael Hurley. Michael, Thursday morning, almost 9 a.m. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Doug. When we last spoke, Sunday,
Yeah.
yeah, we were going through. We're like, is the AFC East in play? Like, no, like the Bills will have the Falcons, they'll handle them. Didn't expect that. So here we are talking about
Yeah.
the first place New England Patriots for all of our preseason prognostications. Nobody had this one.
Yeah. Let's play some good news, bad news right here. Good news.
Good news.
Patriots are in first place in the AFC East,
I know the
and they've
bad
already
news.
beaten the Bills. Bad news, that game
It's a
against the Falcons not looking so easy down the road.
Maybe. I mean, that was a strange game. The Bills don't have their heads on straight. So
Yeah.
right now, and I think their schedule is much more difficult than the Patriots. Long way to go on that. As Mike
Yeah.
Vrabel told you all yesterday, they're not going to cancel the rest of the season. So that's also bad news.
That is
They
bad
can't.
news, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be really good for them. But
Yeah.
I don't know, Doug. We've gone like I'm thinking about the ebbs and flows in the highs and lows that rhyme of where we've been, and it's like before the season, you're like 8-9 wins. I think we came
Hmm.
down to 8 collectively, and then they go 1-2. They lose to a bad Raiders team and what we thought was a bad Steelers team. We're like, eight's looking dicey now. Maybe you're looking at 6, and then in the span of 3 weeks, everything changes so significantly that you're talking about not just making the playoffs, but being in contention for the division, which kind of is insane to talk about, but not really. So it's pretty crazy how
Right.
fast things changed.
It is amazing because I think that before the season, like way back when the schedule was announced, you could talk yourself into 10 wins, whatever. Like I think that's where we like kind of almost landed at that point. And
High
like
end, yeah.
everyone was kind of laughing at Taylor Kyles at the time for saying I think like 12 or 13 wins or whatever. Now it's like, well, maybe he was on the right side of things. But that's to say that after training camp, everyone was also kind of like, I don't know, like let's subtract a couple wins from that. That didn't look that great. And to your point, after the Raiders game, even more so, it was like, okay, maybe this team's not ready. We fast tracked them a little bit too much. Now they're 4-2, and I mean they should at least be 6-2 after the next two games. The
Well,
Browns are a little feisty,
I
and the
want to
Falcons look even more feisty, but still.
I want to be careful with it because for as
All
much
right,
as I say
five
it's
and two after this next game. Is that fair to say?
I can't tell you the specific games, but I just think we
Right.
have to be prepared. And we've
Yeah.
talked about this before. They're not going to win them all. Like for as much as they
Right.
looked superior to Carolina and they eked out a win in New Orleans, like the
Yeah.
New Orleans win wasn't easy. They're
No.
going to run into a game. Like if the Bills can lose to the Falcons, as you said, the Patriots can lose to the Falcons.
Hmm.
There's going to be a week where we think maybe like this one, like no way they lose this game, and they end up losing it. And that's not to pour cold water on the positivity. I think that's just you have to look at it realistically in a larger 6 to 8 week stretch and say if they win at
Right.
least 2/3 of their games, they'll be in good shape. And I think that should be, even despite all the craziness, they've got this stretch before their week 13 bye. They should be 4-3, 5-2 in that stretch. And
Right.
you got to be prepared for that 2 or 3 loss
Yeah. I
area.
mean, I still feel like I don't fully know what this football team is because they destroy the Panthers and they beat the Bills. Um, I don't know, convincingly. And then
Straight
they
up,
kind
I
of
would say.
eke it out against the Saints a little bit too much eking out in that one. Where if Kayshon Boutte doesn't catch that pass at the end, maybe the Saints go on a drive and beat them. You know, that's a distinct
Yeah.
possibility there. They looked amazing in the first half against the Saints, and then just kind of stopped doing anything in the second half. So I still don't fully know what this team is. I'm pretty convinced they can beat the Titans this week, just because like I know that Vrabel was like it's not like a win one for the Gipper thing, but it does kind of feel that way. I
I think
his
it
players
helps.
have so much respect for him that I don't think they're going to allow themselves to lose to the team that fired him 2 years ago.
Yeah. And if you look at the history of NFL teams playing a third straight road game, it's horrific. So I think to
Right.
have some sort of outside influence like this, like a unique situation where there's two things working against the Patriots. One is that third straight road game. I don't
Hmm.
have the number of how often teams win all three of those, but it's in the you know 10 to 15% range, I
Right.
want to say.
Yep.
And secondly, there is the very real interim boost
Hmm.
situation that can
Right.
happen.
Yep.
But I think it's counteracted in a way because of the Vrabel returning to Tennessee thing. I think you're right. Players do want to do it for him, even if
Yeah,
he's downplaying it. And secondly, the interim coach is Mike McCoy,
that's
who
the
is
thing. Yeah,
like a drip.
right.
He is not Antonio Pierce in
That's the
Oakland or
perfect
in
example.
Vegas.
Yeah, yeah,
He is not the fun uncle who gets to take over
right,
for the hard ass coach who took over for Patricia in Detroit. I don't even remember, but I bet they won that game because they hated Matt Patricia.
right.
I don't know the situation with Callahan in Tennessee, but I'm
I
guessing,
doubt it was pure hatred. I think it was more just kind of like, we don't really like this guy. That would be my guess. I have no idea.
yeah. So I don't think they're going to have that surge where, I mean, I think remember when the Raiders won after McDaniels got fired and they're smoking cigars. They're like 2-10 in December,
Yeah.
and it's like they beat the Giants or something, and they're smoking cigars. It was outrageous. I don't see Tennessee galvanizing like that this week.
Yeah, because I also think that like, I mean, first of all, there's not a lot of Titans players left from when Mike Vrabel was there. But I certainly don't think that the players left are like, oh, we hated that guy. We got to beat him this week. Like Vrabel said
Yeah,
yesterday that he still keeps in touch with Jeffrey Simmons. That he's
yeah,
like catches up with him and thanks him for what he did. So like, I think
yeah.
that Vrabel is well liked by players everywhere that he's coached. So I don't even think that there's that element of it,
True, true.
um, which plays a factor. So yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty convinced that they're going to win. I think they're going to win big. Like, I'm thinking like
Ooh.
31-13 in this one. I think it's going to be a little bit of a shellacking.
Well, so this is a quick the Google AI result that comes up.
Hmm.
It says in the past decade, teams that fire their head coach midseason are 15-5 against the spread in the first game
Oh.
with an interim head coach. Those teams covered by an average of 4.2 points per game and increased their point differential by 16.3 points on average. Now, if the Titans were to increase their point differential by 16 points, they've been outscored by 78 over 6 weeks. So some quick math tells us that increasing it by 16, they would be +3. So there is a
Hmm.
risk historically,
Well,
but I
is
think,
that in one game plus 16? Because
yeah,
if they're only improving the point total by 4,
they
then that,
covered by an average of 4. They covered the spread by an average of
right.
4.
So the Patriots are favored by 7. So then that would mean that the Patriots would still win by 3, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on.
It's a lot of numbers.
But yeah,
Might be too early for me to wrap my head around them.
I think a lot of them are irrelevant. So
No, for
I'm
sure.
with you.
Because after all is said and done, it's Mike McCoy, and I'm not convinced they're gonna win one for the Gipper on that side either for Mike McCoy. But
I used to hate watching him coach the Chargers. Like he was brutal, and
yeah,
had no interest one way or the other. I
right.
had no skin in the game, and I was like, I hate this guy. So I don't believe in his ability to fire up the boys down in Tennessee. And I was asking you, Doug, before we started. I'm
Hmm.
like, wait, how did the Titans win a game? They came back
Right.
against the Cardinals, and it was a game when they played the highlights on SportsCenter. They played yakety sax because it was like that was when Kyler Murray took one off the face on
Yep.
fumbled a shotgun snap. You had
Amari DiMercado dropped the ball at the goal line.
that happen. You had an interception by the Cardinals, dropped, kicked around, guys flailing all over the place, and the Titans getting a touchdown out of it by
Yeah.
landing on it in the end. It was probably will go down as the worst game of the year.
Yeah.
So, barring something,
Oh, you don't think they can do that again?
I would amend what I was just going to say. Barring several things going horrifically bad for the Patriots,
Yeah.
I'm with you. I think this is one they've got to win.
Um. Yes, 100%. And yeah, I mean, so dropping the ball at the goal line with Amari DiMercado did. Like, why do you do that? I know that it's been covered at this point. We never covered it,
I know
but
why.
like, so the idea is that it looks cool,
Yeah.
but when you drop it too early, it doesn't look cool. It makes you look like a fool. So
Mm.
why are you doing it?
Well, let me just. This is going to be jarring for you to hear, but you're a nerd and you think you should carry the ball all the way to the end zone, which is nerdy, whereas it's cool to just casually flick it away as soon as you cross the goal line. So like you don't understand because you're not cool,
You
but
want a official challenge, and you want them to break it down frame by frame
you want
and
the
centimeter by centimeter. You want to make people do work to
you
see if
want
you
to
scored a touchdown or not.
let's say you score a touchdown, right? You're on TV for a split second. Hey, there he is. Let's say you fumble right as you cross the goal line. You get 20 replays. You get the NBC it microscope down on you. Everyone's talking about you, boosting your fantasy value, even though you just gave up a touchdown. So there's a lot to be gained, but it is crazy. Like, I don't know. Deshaun Jackson had the big one back in the day, right?
Don't forget, then you go to your sideline and your coach physically assaults you, and
Right.
then you can sue. So he was playing the long-term game here, I think.
That's true. That's true. But Deshaun Jackson had like the most famous one, right? Am I wrong about that? Like way back when against
Oh,
the Giants or
yeah.
something,
Yeah.
or against the Cowboys.
He might have been the first.
Yeah, I mean, it just keeps happening, which is the
Yeah.
crazy part. And it's not. You're right. I was joking. There's no just one more step. Just make sure. Just jump in.
Even
You
just like
don't
put the ball itself over the goal line and
right.
then drop it.
Like, did you see Drake London's touchdown last week? He's held up at the 1 and he goes, sticks it
Right.
out, and he understands that the play's over because he scored a touchdown, and he could have punted it after that.
It's true. He could have.
That would be cool.
That would be cool. Matt Collins did that in Minnesota to get the fellas riled up. It was fun. But
There was a good energy in the empty stadium that day.
there was fans there.
Oh, that was practice. Sorry.
It was practice. So yeah, I think the Patriots are going to win. I found a stat yesterday. Can I tell you about the stat?
Stat of the week, Pats chat. Stat of the week.
So the Titans DVOA on deep passes, their defense, their DVOA on deep passes is 31st in the NFL. I'm not sure if you're aware of Drake May's current deep passing resume, or I don't know how he's been doing over the past 3 weeks, but it seems unsustainably good, because it probably is. He's completing 75% of his passes 20 yards or deeper down the field right now. He has the, I believe, second highest PFF passing grade on deep passes. He's been unbelievable.
And that's despite losing the touchdown to Douglas.
Yes,
and that's
losing
despite
a 61-yard touchdown.
Losing the 50-yarder to Diggs for OPI.
Right. Yes.
And that's despite an incompletion that was, again, dropped in the bucket to Matt Collins the next play. So 3 deep balls last week didn't count positively toward him, and 1 counted negatively toward him.
So I think it is unsustainable at a certain point. That number's probably going to drop down to like the mean, which is around like 50% or whatever. But I don't think this is the week that happens. I think that you probably do and should see Drake May continuing to come out absolutely firing. And obviously, one of the biggest aspects of this is the fact that Drake May can extend plays with his legs, evade pressure in the pocket, and at a certain point, a wide receiver is going to become open downfield.
Mm-hmm.
And another huge strength of May is that then, as he's scrambling around, he's able to find them. So I'm not saying that any of this is luck. I don't think that Drake May even drops down to like the normal mean on all of this. Yeah. It's part of his skill set. But yeah, I think that it continues this week against the Titans, and might be a good week to have Kayshon Boutte in I don't know, daily fantasy or fantasy, just because he's been the prime recipient of a lot of those deep passes. His average depth of target so far this season is 16 yards downfield. So he, on average, is targeted 16 yards downfield, which is among the highest in the NFL. He also has the highest catch rate of any receiver who has an average depth of target over 10 yards. So his stats also seem a little bit unsustainable, but he's also incredible at making contested catches. Drake May's putting it right there for him. And so far, it's been a really strong combination.
Twice in a week, the Pats Chat podcast has endorsed Kayshon Boutte for your fantasy needs. And last week, 2 touchdowns. Who had that one? We did.
It's very true. It's very true.
I looked while you were going there. The Titans I go more traditional stats too to check those fancy computer stats. And they allow just about 7 yards per passing play, which is 23rd in the league. Not really
not that high. No.
Not good though. Like they're going to be, I think probably, well, I don't know, when they're down by a lot, the opponent's play calling probably is affected. So maybe there's more shorter passes, but either way, I think it starts with the run game though, because
I was just going to get into that.
you talk about not sustainable. The passing game is not sustainable if the running game continues to just be what's the right? They're non-existent. So the more
Yeah.
teams can just say, well, we don't have to worry about their two running backs, the harder it's going to be for Drake May to do what he's been doing.
This is why I would have felt crazy saying this coming into the season. But this is why I would endorse trading for like a starting caliber running back.
Okay.
Mike Reese mentioned Brees Hall.
That
And
wouldn't happen, would it?
I don't know. The Jets are very bad. They're 0-6. They have a head coach who is doing a poor job coaching his football team while also being kind of rude to the media, which isn't like the strongest combination to have.
Yeah.
He said yesterday, I think it was, someone asked him about Justin Fields trying to take more risks at quarterback and trying to like hit, receivers more downfield because he doesn't have any interceptions. And what Aaron Glenn said was like, well, yeah, we could try that and we've thought about it. But then, like, if he does throw an interception, then you guys will be bitching about that. It's just like, I don't think you need to be worrying about what the media's reaction to a decision you make is. That's not
Yeah.
a great thing at this point. But I digress.
They traded Demaryius Thomas. That was a
Yeah,
that was a Jets Patriots trade.
right.
And was it Chad Ryland they traded with the Jets? They moved up to trade.
Oh, yeah,
I believe
yeah,
that was a Jets trade. So they have engaged in some trades,
right.
not many. But there was like I think Demaryius Thomas broke like a 20-year stretch of no trades between the Jets and Patriots.
Do you do you know who the Jets GM is?
Mike Tannenbaum, right? No?
I feel like I keep up with the NFL pretty well.
Okay.
I'm an NFL reporter. This is my
True.
job. I go to the NFL scouting combine.
I'm not
I
familiar. I'm not familiar to answer your question.
I see GMs speaking. I go to owners meetings. I follow the news.
Yeah. I watch ESPN shows sometimes. They talk about the Jets a lot.
The Jets general manager is Darren Moogie.
Now, I know one thing about him, having just learned him. Oh, we have a little bit of there's conflict. For his Pro Football Reference birthday and his Wikipedia birthday are different. Pro Football
Oh,
Reference says he's an 86 baby.
oh
So
yeah.
he's one of
Wikipedia says
us.
85. Yeah.
So we're gonna have to get to the bottom of that. We could probably figure it out with his when he went to college, but senior year in high school in '08. So he's
Mm,
probably 86.
yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's huge. That is huge. He played wide receiver for San Diego State. He spent some time in the NFL as well. Um, how did I miss this?
Yeah. I'm not familiar.
Like, did Adam Schefter even bother tweeting about it?
He was the assistant general manager in Denver for a year, 2 years,
Yeah, 3 years.
3 years.
All right. I mean,
Darren
good for
Moogie.
him. Yeah.
Would Darren Moogie work with the Patriots front office? Here's an honest answer. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine there's that much like hatred from Darren Moogie about the Patriots, you know?
Darren Moogie.
I guess he was with the Broncos when the Patriots were rivals.
Well,
So
one thing to
maybe.
consider is you and I are affected by watching Bill Belichick run the team with a lot of spite and a
Yeah.
lot of
I mean, the Bengals just traded with the Browns for a quarterback. So it feels like anything's on the table.
yeah, Mike Tomlin didn't like that. But I think not everyone holds such grudges. And Bill
Mm-hmm,
Belichick's
mm-hmm,
Jets
mm-hmm.
grudge was like of all of Bill Belichick's grudges, that was probably one of the most
Yeah.
significant ones. So I think I'm probably overthinking it, but it still does feel weird
Right.
if you're a divisional rival and you just give them a player who's going to help them go in a playoff run.
No, absolutely. And I believe Bryce Hall is in the last year of his contract. So that would certainly help this situation.
He is.
He is in the last year of his deal, pretty low salary. I
Does
do
he?
think I do also think the Patriots could use like some sort of third string running back like Devin Singletary or guys that we've mentioned in the past. But like to actually significantly improve the offense and to make a difference in the run game, Doesn't it feel like there needs to be a significant shakeup here? And I don't think it's happening on the offensive line.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. I mean, you can't I still believe Henderson will be an effective NFL player, but you can't necessarily wait around for it. If you're the
Right.
Patriots,
Yeah.
you got
And
a game Sunday
he
and then another game
also,
after that.
I think we all acknowledge, probably never going to be like a 300 carry per season guy. You know?
Yeah. I mean, Andrew asked them of the big mystery of this week about the nameplate being so small, but like someone with that nameplate is by necessity small. Like he's not a
Yes.
big fella.
And you
So,
even look at Jahmyr Gibbs. Like Jahmyr Gibbs is probably only as good as he is because he has David Montgomery.
yeah.
And at this point, Ramondre Stevenson is not David Montgomery. Ramondre Stevenson is struggling mightily. When he's not fumbling, he's averaging like 2 yards per carry. It's been an ugly start outside of that week 2 game, to the point where if you acquired Brees Hall, I think you could pretty safely say like, okay, we're moving Ramondre down to third string.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like the coaching staff with the personnel you have, they almost have to be psychologists as much as football coaches
Yeah,
because
right.
like you just mentioned Stevenson after week 2, it was like, "Oh, look at this guy moving freely."
Yep.
He had what, like 100 over 100 yards total with
Yeah.
his receiving and rushing yards. He was a factor. And then once the fumbles happened, he's like his running performance last week was one of the worst I've ever seen from an NFL running. He was like late stage Steven Jackson when he came to the Patriots, and he
Yeah.
just stood behind the line and waited to get tackled. So
Right.
I don't know. It's not like Stevenson hasn't shown an ability to be an every down NFL running back.
Right.
So you need something more than like a football. Like I don't know what they have in terms of performance coaches and things like that, but it feels like that's what they need as much as anything. Because
Yeah.
we could come up with some trade targets, but how many of those actually come to fruition, and how many actually pan
Yeah.
out once you do make the trade? So I feel like that's got to be the focus as much as anything.
So in the last 2 games, Ramondre Stevenson has 32 rushing yards on 20 carries. He did
Yeah.
have the 2 touchdowns against the Bills, but he also fumbled in that game. I mean, yeah, on the season, he's averaging 3.1 yards per carry, which is obviously really bad. But then over the last 2 weeks to be averaging less than 2 yards per carry,
Hmm.
it's hard to do. And it's interesting because I don't fully buy into these things. But when you look at ESPN's run block, what is it? Six win rate, run blocking win rate. I think the Patriots offensive line is like 7th highest. So they have like the 7th highest run blocking win rate in the NFL,
Interesting.
which do the does that pass the eye test?
No.
No, but I also think that you need to like combine those things where like they're obviously not, based on those metrics, a giant issue. Like they're 7th in ESPN's run blocking win rate. You can also check stats of like expected yards per attempt for running backs. Trevion Henderson is lowest among qualified running backs. Ramondre Stevenson is very far below average. So like the metrics say it is the running back's fault over the offensive line. The eye test suggests that it's a combination.
Hmm.
I think the offensive line could do a better job of holding their blocks. I think there's times that they're getting blown up at the line, which definitely doesn't help when that's creating negative plays. But the eye test also tells me that the running backs have to be far more decisive, and that it feels like both players are kind of in their heads about, okay, we can't fumble. We're focusing fully on not fumbling and less on actually doing our job picking up yards.
I agree.
And it's helping them win. So it's hard to be like, all right, well,
Right.
stop doing that.
Fumbling last week would have potentially
Yes,
lost the game.
it would have probably lost them the game. But you also have to acknowledge that the Patriots cannot go the entire season with literally the least efficient run game in the league and continue to win.
Right. Right.
They are 32nd in EPA per play, and they are 32nd in success rate in the run game.
Is that
It's
just
that
with
bad.
running backs? Because Drake, if not for Drake May,
I think it's overall. Yeah.
well, without Drake May, they'd be even worse because he has
Although that only accounts for Drake May designed runs, I believe.
which I think he has one of this year, maybe,
Right.
if that.
Yeah.
So, okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. Because I was going to say he has about the same rushing yards as them in like half the carries. So,
Yeah.
not great. Ramondre Stevenson averaged 4.3 yards per carry his first 4 years and is now averaging 3.1. So a 1.2 yards worse than his career. He should be better than this, I think, is what we're getting at.
And the other factor here too is that, like, sure, you could say like, all right, bench Jared Wilson for Ben Brown, and I don't think that would make that big of a difference. But it's also hard with, I think, how much of a pleasant surprise it's been, the offensive line as a whole, as pass blockers. It's hard to break up that group, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you really
Yeah.
want to screw those things up when they're doing a pretty good job of keeping Drake May clean.
Though when Brown did play, it's not like they missed a step.
No, I
but-
think that that is one thing that they could try. Like, and maybe, I don't know if it's this week, but I think at some point it probably, like, if you can't switch up the running backs, I don't think you're going to start Terrell Jennings in week 8. So maybe you have to try something, but man, like, this is one of those things where, like you're saying with the record and being in first place, no one could have possibly foreseen the Patriots being the absolute worst team in the NFL running the ball entering the season.
That was supposed to be their backbone, was
Yeah.
running and defense. Is it possible? I don't think this is true, but I like to explore different possibilities. I think we both have a high enough opinion of Ramondre Stevenson as a player.
Yeah.
Do we overrate him possibly? Because I don't know. I was just looking
at
his,
this point. Yeah.
I was just looking. Maybe I don't want to say we're expecting too much, but I don't know. We've seen him play pretty well, but in terms of being a consistent performer, I don't know. It's not like he had.
He was not great. He was not very good last year, and now he's not very good this year. I think that there's a trend.
Going back to Oklahoma, like he had 515 yards his first year as a junior, and then 2020 he had a really good 6 games, but 2020 was the weirdest college football season that's ever happened. So he averaged 110 yards per game that year. He had 7 touchdowns in 6 games, but it's like he never really, I don't know, reached that next level that you would expect. So maybe it's like, maybe his career is, bell curving down. It's possible.
It absolutely is, because like his best season obviously was 2022, but everyone's going to have that season when your offensive coordinators are Matt Patricia and Joe Judge. So I don't know if
But
we can
still
count that. No,
1,000 yards is 1,000 yards.
I was joking that's even more.
Oh,
impressive
I get it.
more impressive to do when Matt Patricia and Joe Judge are your.
He had 5 yards a carry.
Exactly. And then but since then, there has been that downswing where he averaged 4 yards per carry in 2023, which is below average for a running back.
Yeah.
3.9 in 2024, 3.1 in 2025. And obviously in 23 and 24, there were extenuating circumstances playing behind the absolute worst offensive line, probably in the history of the Patriots.
Yes.
But this year, that excuse doesn't really exist anymore.
Right.
Because maybe I'm being naive, maybe I'm being stupid. Like, I don't think that this offensive line can be as good as it is as pass blockers and as bad as it is as run blockers. Like that, unless the Patriots just straight up are not practicing run blocking, unless Doug Marrone is saying like, hey, don't even think about run blocking, only work on protecting May, it doesn't add up.
Yeah. I just, I don't know. I think I've come around on that concept, like not to age shame a running back, but 27 is for most of them pretty old. So
I mean,
sucks,
when you always see those tweets about Todd Gurley, like,
yeah, he's still like 25, I think.
Would you not be surprised? He was like, actually, Todd Gurley's 27.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's something to consider that sometimes it goes.
Mm-hmm.
And
well,
that's what I'll be watching for. Like, does he still have something? And week 2 showed yes.
Right.
But if you can't do it consistently, it's not really there.
Right. And like, there's always the possibility that 1 week is going to be an anomaly. And so far, I don't know. It's kind of looking that way overall. With the 2 fumbles against the Steelers,
Miami also
fumble against
stinks.
the Bills. Right. Speaking of Miami stinking, I actually would not mind them acquiring a pass rusher from Miami. Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips. I think that's another area where the Patriots could find a potential starter. And I think I've mentioned this before, but then that would probably bump Caleb on Chase on back down to a situational role, which is probably ideal for what you expected when you were signing him.
Yeah, I do know
because
the
Keon
Dolphins.
White's not really doing anything right now, and Anthony
No.
Jennings has obviously not been very effective. Elijah Ponder's a rookie. There's like, it would be ideal to acquire another starter across from Harold Landry and then move Caleb Von Chason into a third down role.
Hmm. I was going to say I do know the
Sorry,
Dolphins GM, not to brag.
Chris Greer.
He's only been there for a decade, so shout out to that.
It
Yeah,
is funny when those guys, and hey, maybe they'll look at the Colts and be like, everyone want us to fire Chris Ballard. Look at this start. Look what he's doing
we
now.
did discuss
Let
that
him
this
cook.
summer. We said, how long is Chris Ballard going to have that job? And now he just bought himself at least 2 more years.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah,
The rivalry's back on. Um, no, you're right, because it's going to be hard. Like the Patriots are getting by and they have an easy schedule. They'll win
yeah,
games. It's going to be hard to win 10, 11 games and a playoff game, et cetera, if you don't supplement your pass rush.
yeah. Yes, I agree.
Especially with it looked like Landry's season was over last week for a couple minutes and
Yeah,
then
that
he
was
was fine.
wild. Yeah,
I don't know how the human body works, but I was
and
like,
then he
well, he's
wasn't.
done.
He didn't practice yesterday. Also, just as
Right. Did
but
you have
he
any
finished the
concerns
game.
about I know Morgan Moses was out.
See,
The absences
Morgan
yesterday.
Moses was not there at the beginning of practice, but then he was listed as limited. So apparently he
Okay.
came back out afterwards.
Do you have any we talked about this before. We're still getting used to the Mike Vrabel era of
Yeah.
practicing. So any of those raise an eyebrow, I should say, compared to
When it's an older gentleman like Harold Landry or Morgan Moses, both of whom are younger than both of us, I don't think there's a lot of concerns.
okay.
Jalen Hawkins seems like that hammy. It's weird because like he injured the hammy that he played, and then he missed last week's game, and now he wasn't practicing out there, so could be another Kyle Duggar game. They did sign Richie Grant to their practice squad, who was like a 2-year starter with the Falcons, second round pick back in the day. So I don't know. I'm not saying he's gonna start over Kyle Duggar, but it was an interesting signing, at least.
I have a little inside info. Stephon Diggs was listed with chest. Do you know why?
Yes. Why? Because
It's
he's
because he's
got
got
that
that
dog in
dog
him.
in him. Yep.
Sorry for ruining your joke.
It was very original. I'm not sure how you saw that one coming, but all right, fair enough. Moving
I also wrote about the culture that Vrabel has built and the buy-in from players. I don't want to do like a whole segment on this or anything, but one of the more interesting quotes that came out of it was Stephon Diggs said to me, "I don't know how he does it, but I've bought in," which was like just a funny way of saying that because like I think that Diggs is obviously I guess like best behavior always sounds kind of condescending, but like I think he's been a better leader maybe than we thought he would be at this point. And it does feel
Absolutely.
like he is fully bought into everything that Mike Vrabel is selling.
Hmm. I was thinking about this the other day because that's what I do. I think Pats, so we could do Pats chat, and like he's no doubt been better in that area than I think any of us would have guessed. I think you thought what you were getting in Diggs was sort of like an alpha number one receiver who was going to come in and just be him in the scope of being a star receiver would get other people to follow and try to be like him.
Right.
But I think he's doing much more than that. But I still think the ultimate test, to your point, is like when they do hit adversity. Like right now,
Yeah, for sure.
they're not the most adverse times. Now, granted, the 1-2 start, he wasn't getting the ball much.
Hmm.
There wasn't an issue there, but then he did famously start to get the ball a lot with the Buffalo game, and
Yeah.
he's becoming more of a star receiver. So I guess I don't know if they hit a bump in the road, lose a couple, he's not getting the ball, whatever
Yeah,
it might be. That's when you see the test of it. But
for sure.
so far, there's been no indication that it's going to be a problem. So I think that has been a big win for the Patriots.
Yeah, because I mean, he even said that like when you sell your players on, hey, this is going to work, this is going to work, this is going to work, and then you actually see it pay off, then that helps buy-in. But if you're selling all these things and then they wind up losing games and what he's preaching isn't working, then maybe you start to lose it a little bit. But yeah, I mean, he said, I don't know how he does it, but he got me to buy in. I'll tell you that. So that's a, I don't know, strong quote, obviously. And I also look back just at the offseason of it felt like obviously Vrabel was saying like, hey, everyone with ties to Belichick is out. Like David Andrews cut, Joe Cardona cut. We're not signing Dietrich Wise. We're not signing Jonathan Jones. Brian Belichick's not staying. Mike Pellegrino, like, but I also think it's important after noting all of that, that 4 of the 6 Patriots captains were on the Patriots last season, and 3 of the 6 played under Bill Belichick. So there's not that strong of a bias of like, hey, out with the old, in with the new. I'm only dealing with my guys. Like Marcus Jones was drafted by Bill Belichick, and Hunter Henry was signed by Bill Belichick. And there's also an element there of it does feel like, based on a lot of the depth chart decisions they made, that it truly was like, hey, no one's guaranteed a spot. Like, and no one's guaranteed a starting spot. You can be on this team, but like the way that Kyle Duggar's been used, like, yeah, you're worth being on this roster, but we think that Jalen Hawkins is a better player. So despite the fact that you're making 10 times as much as Jalen Hawkins, you're not going to be out there. So I don't know. I think that all of it obviously has worked. And I think that there was a strong method behind the madness. And I don't think they're 4-2 right now if Vrabel isn't getting that buy-in from the players.
For sure. One player who is like the poster boy of a Belichick guy, Brendan Schooler.
Yeah. Yep.
Special teams captain. Pretty
Special
important
teams
player.
captain. Exactly. Yep. And he was talking about how important it is that Vrabel is able to kind of tweak his relationships with players depending on how much they can take. He said that like he can be harder on some guys. He can like bust balls more with some guys. Some guys he knows he can't. And that's just kind of like knowing about who the players are and what they like and what they benefit from. So I think that's big too.
Like you can't really goof around with Keon White, but you can probably coach him pretty hard.
Yeah. But he's one guy who's, I'm certainly not saying he's not bought in. I have no idea, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It feels like every year we have this conversation like Keon White, big breakout candidate, that never happens. So still waiting on that one.
Tell me what you know about the Tennessee Titans. Have you dug into the film on Cam Ward? Because I haven't. I'll be honest. I've watched some Titans. I have not. There were times in my life where maybe I would have, studied full games. I don't know if it's because I have 3 kids or if it's because, I'm getting older. I don't know what it might be, but I don't really have the desire to watch 6 Titans games. So you can be honest, what kind of, have you watched Cam Ward, the player in the NFL?
I've watched him just through like games. I haven't necessarily broken down the all 22 of Cam Ward.
Okay.
I've watched him on television
Because the numbers aren't good. The numbers are bad.
No, the numbers aren't good. One thing I will say about the numbers, and I have no idea how this plays into it on Sunday, but 4 interceptions is among the NFL league leaders through 6 games, but only has 5 turnover worthy plays. 2% turnover worthy play rate is very low among NFL quarterbacks.
That's bad puck luck then.
So it's bad. There's some bad luck involved in this. I don't think his receivers help because outside of Calvin Ridley, who's not doing too much, they don't have a lot of help on their in their receiving core, and their offensive line also. I'm pulling it up real quick. Has been pretty bad at protecting Cam Ward as well. They're 29th in pass blocking efficiency. Just to use one strong example here, the Patriots' offensive line, only the 5 guys who are in front of Drake May have allowed 2 sacks this season. The rest have been on either Trevion Henderson, Hunter Henry, or the fault of Drake May to run into a sack, run out of bounds, do whatever. 2 sacks. The Titans have allowed 19 sacks. Their offensive line has allowed 19 sacks. So this is a good week, I would say, for Milton Williams, Christian Barmore, Harold Landry if he plays, Caleb Von Chason, all those guys to get right a little bit.
Yes, because I just want to double check. I'm pretty sure they're the 2nd worst scoring offense in the league. Is that right?
I think so.
Total, we're going to go points per game. They are averaging 13.8 points per game, better only than the Browns at 13.7, and that's 3.5 points less than the Raiders, who are 30th. So it is a bad offense. So that's also another factor why I didn't do my film homework. Just sometimes you got to make a life decision.
And outside of Jeffrey Simmons, not a whole lot going on defense either.
Yeah, this is a tough game to make the case for anything other than they've got to win it. I think it's
Yeah,
that simple. Like it's
100%.
like we mentioned, the 3 road games working against them. Do you get the sense though you're around them? Because 3 road games is kind of ridiculous in a row. Sometimes
It is
under
kind of
Belichick,
ridiculous.
sometimes you'd see Belichick like stay somewhere else. Like they would stay at like the Air Force Academy.
Right.
Remember
Yep.
before the San Diego game?
Oh, no, that was it before the Mexico City game.
Oh, so that they're in Denver, then they went to the Air
Mexico,
Force
then they went
Academy
to Air
somewhere.
Force Academy. Then they went to
Then
Mexico City.
I think they spent a week in San Diego
They
once.
did. 2014.
Um, so I don't because it is challenging to have the back to back road games, different stuff.
Hmm.
This one doesn't seem overly taxing. I mean, they're not. Do you get the sense that they're like worn out from having gone to Buffalo, which is what, an hour flight, from having gone
Right.
to New Orleans is a decent little up
It's
and
like a
back,
3.5 hour flight. Yeah.
but I don't know. Do you get a sense that they're getting
I
road
think it
weary?
helps that it's early in the season because like even I mean I'm not out there playing a football game, but like yeah, just being away from your family 3 weekends in a row isn't ideal. Being away from like your bed for 3 weekends in a row is not ideal. But it being earlier in the season is easier to swallow, I think. So I don't really get that sense. It's a good question to kind of ask around about to be like, how are you guys doing on this? Because it does feel like a lot, but
And there's like a semi short week in there when you play Sunday night and you're flying back at
right.
midnight, 1
Yes,
a.m.
absolutely. And obviously that didn't affect them too much against the Saints, although I don't think they played their best game in the second half there. So no, I think there could be a factor, and the fact that they didn't play their best game in the second half, maybe that could carry over into this week. But um, no, it's certainly notable, and it's you don't love it to have 3 road games in a row. It's a lot.
Yeah. So I mean the road, I mean the travel schedule eases insane. They have one of the I think fewest travel miles of any team, maybe
Well, they
ever.
never crossed the Mississippi River.
Yeah. At Miami, at Buffalo, at New Orleans, at Tennessee, then they go at Tampa, at Cincinnati, at Baltimore, at New York. So after this,
Yeah,
I mean Tampa is a real flight, Cincinnati's ish a real flight, but
yeah.
not a lot of wear and tear on
It,
the travel
it's
schedule after this.
it's all like, or not all, but half of them are those annoying like 3 hour flights. They're just a little bit longer than you want them to be. But like Buffalo is you're basically going up in the air then back down.
Yeah.
Baltimore is the same thing basically. New York is the shortest flight you can have, or among them in the NFL. Otherwise, I think you'd be driving.
You
How
ever
far? How far is New York City from Philadelphia?
very close. I don't know.
Do,
150 miles?
do you think they drive that one?
Who, the teams when New
Yeah,
York plays Philly? I've
yeah.
seen hockey teams take the train.
Interesting.
I don't know. Can you fly from Philly to New York?
I would guess so.
This is going to be our Google Maps
And you
segment of
can
the week.
can't you fly from like Boston to Hyannis?
True, you can. So yeah, I'm sure you can, especially with the private situation, but I don't think most normal folks would. Philadelphia to New York City is 94 miles, even
Oh,
closer
that's
than I thought.
really so. Yeah, you.
You can fly in a private jet, but I wouldn't personally. I think that's a waste of money. Have you ever I've flown to New York a few times. Only once did I do it on like a huge jet. I was on
Mm,
JetBlue. We were going to the Dominican for our honeymoon, and we had to go to New York. And so we were in like a big, I don't know, 3 and 2 seat plane
mm,
with like 50 rows. You take off. They're like, "Welcome to JetBlue. You're on the airplane and get ready for landing." Like you're literally flying, not at the airport for like 8 minutes.
wow,
It's incredible.
that is incredible. It appears that there are not nonstop commercial flights from New York to Philadelphia.
Okay. Let me see something real quick. You know what the difference is?
What?
Flying Boston to Hyannis, there's not a stupid ass bridge with a 2-lane highway on the other side of it. So Boston to Hyannis is 70 miles. So I think the bridge being built in the 30s and not accommodating for vehicles that have 4 seats in them and air conditioning and size
Yeah,
makes that a route. Good
yeah.
airplane talk. Good airplane talk.
Hey, I found something out. I learned something today. If anyone ever asks me, can I take a direct a nonstop flight from New York to Philadelphia? I'm gonna say no, you can't. That would be. Are you insane? That's stupid. It's 90 miles away.
That
That's the
is, I
dumbest
mean,
question I've ever heard in my life.
it's not an easy drive either. Like right now, I looked up, it was like 2 hours because traffic,
Oops.
all that.
Yeah.
Flight would be nice. Anyways, do you have anything more on the Titans, Doug? Because I had some topics lined up here for us.
No.
But
Let's hit some topics.
well, my phone started making noise immediately. One is we were talking about this before we started. The Celtics coaches
Hmm.
playing a basketball game against the media and kicking their asses. Was it 57-4?
Yes.
And so I was thinking, what is a sport where the media would have a chance against the coaching staff?
Oh
And
wow.
I think we learned it's not basketball.
Yeah. So I don't think it would be. I don't think that we could beat the Patriots coaching staff in flag football either because.
Well, I'm not talking about flag football.
No, I know. So I'm just kind of going
I'm
sport by
talking
sport
about
here.
football.
Oh,
Like strap the
football.
pads on.
Oh, so
Vrabel
no, I
would be a
don't.
problem.
I don't think we could. I don't think we'd beat them.
I don't know. McDaniels, can he still sling it? He's
I
getting
mean,
up there.
their cornerbacks coach played in the NFL. Granted, it was on defense, but like,
Yeah.
if you think anyone is stopping him or tackling him,
Yeah.
I just don't think that's going to be happening.
I bet Doug Marone could block me. I don't know how old he is, but I bet he could block
If
me.
he can't, then I think Robert Kugler and
Oh, for
Jason
sure.
Hofftalon could.
Marone's only 61. He could definitely block me.
So
So
yeah, no, we're not beating them in actual football. Mike
okay.
Vrabel would probably wind up killing us as a pass rusher.
Yeah. Hockey's tough because I'm guessing. I mean, it's a very specialized sport. I'm guessing every NHL coach is like Chris Kelly's on the Bruins coaching staff. Marco Sturm is the head
Right.
coach. Those guys are so
Yeah.
unfathomably good at the sport that even at 40, 50, 60 years old, they're going to just kick your
Yeah.
ass. I have a,
And hockey players, I mean, some of them can play till they're very old too, so they
right.
might still be pretty good.
Yeah. So yeah, hockey, no chance. I have a character flaw.
Hmm.
You ever go on Twitter? I don't know how much baseball
I
stuff
have
you
been on
get.
Twitter.
Yeah, it sucks. I don't know how
I'm one
much.
of the two baseball boys, so I get a lot of baseball.
True. So like Pitching Ninja, I follow. I get a lot
Mm.
of like tunnel videos, and you
Mm.
see like the ball's halfway there, and then the slider breaks, the fastball
Hmm.
stays up, and a lot of times you'll get videos from like catcher cam or umpire cam, and they're like, "Yeah, and when you see on TV, how did he swing at that? This is what they're looking at." My fatal character flaw is anytime I see one of those videos, I'm like, I could hit that guy. I could get a hit off that guy, and it's like I know logically, probably not. I would probably
Right.
need 300 at bats to line a single in the center field, but still, I have that little character flaw where I'm like, but that being said,
Yeah.
I can't speak for the Red Sox media. I
Right.
don't know their athleticism, but I think an average, somewhat weekend athlete like myself could do okay against a baseball staff because, like, the body type of a major league manager, not great.
Yeah.
I don't think it's conducive to healthy eating and healthy habits, that lifestyle. They're
So
older.
it obviously does depend on the age of the coaching staff because there are baseball coaching staffs where like the average age is like 55 to 65.
Yeah,
Like
like the
there
third
are
base
old
coach is
staffs.
60,
Right. And the other element, and this is just purely based off yesterday, because I was watching the Mariners lose quite handily to the Blue Jays. That was a disappointment
That was a tough one.
after they stole two games in Toronto. That was a rough watch. I watched the whole thing, couldn't help myself. But before the game, Randy Johnson throughout the first pitch. Randy Johnson, maybe like the best pitcher ever. Like just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
completely unhittable at times. He's he was born in '63,
He's 62 years old.
so he's 62 years old. He stood at the front of the mound and like didn't even throw like a strike
Yeah.
um to Logan Gilbert. So
Yeah.
that tells me that like obviously he's tall, he's old, like there's extenuating circumstances even with him.
Yeah.
He probably hasn't thrown a ball for however many years, but
There's
if the
damage.
skills can erode that much by the time
Right.
that you're in your 60s, then I do think that depending on the coaching staff, a young media crew could potentially beat a baseball coaching staff.
That being said, for as much as the lifestyle does not befit a healthy MLB manager. A baseball beat writer also does not get to live a
True.
healthy lifestyle. So that could be a great equalizer there. Like, but at the same
Right.
time, like Terry Francona played outfield in the major leagues. I don't think he's tracking many down out there at his age and
Right.
his status. So that would be kind of a mess
Hmm.
if they were to do that. I'm
Right.
trying to
Because,
think.
like, if the average age of a football coaching staff was the average age of a baseball coaching staff, then yeah, it would probably be closer. Or if the average age, like, if the Celtics coaching staff weren't a bunch of guys who were
In their
like
30s.
36 and younger, and they were instead a bunch of guys who were like 50 and up,
Yeah.
then yeah, it probably would have been a lot closer in that game. But all of those Celtics coaches clearly keep themselves in shape and
Right.
probably still play basketball pretty often. So
I
I
wonder if
think
that was like
yeah,
a bonding moment for the players, just because I know like other players were watching from up
yeah,
above, where it's like, oh, you guys really took it to them. Like I think it's being interpreted all the different ways why they
yeah,
decided to do it, but I bet like the players were like, that was cool when you kicked those guys' ass at basketball.
yeah. I'm sure it was looked that way.
I
Yeah,
imagine like I don't know if you even want to say because it could be awkward, but like let's say I was down at Gillette a lot and just kept pissing Vrabel off. Like say I was really annoying and asked the dumbest
hmm,
questions and bothered him, and I was like quarterback for the media team and he was an edge rusher. Can you imagine the I mean, it's actually like a liability. Like it could never
right.
happen,
Yeah,
unfortunately. But can you imagine if he just came off the edge and just had this annoying
just
reporter
obliterated you.
just right in the spine with the helmet? It would probably be awkward. I don't know. He'd probably
Yeah,
take it easy because he's
yeah.
a big, strong man. He's what? How old's Vrabel?
50.
50. He is desperate to play professional football, I think, still, the way that he embraces contact.
And just like giggles and laughs when he does get contact. It's great.
Right. So my other big topic we have to talk about. Did you happen to catch the video from our friend DJ Bean
Yeah.
about ESPN Plus?
ESPN
And this
Plus.
is
Yeah.
this is a major issue in the era of sports streaming
Yeah. If
because
there are if there are planned timed ads, that doesn't work for live sports.
correct, you need so the video DJ pointed out
Yeah.
with Pete Blackburn on the What Chaos podcast. Um, they tested out ESPN's hockey commercials,
Hmm.
and I believe the breaks are supposed to be 90 seconds, but ESPN's would be 2 minutes or 2:10 sometimes. And when it brings you back to the game, you are not live and you don't know it. You
Right.
didn't change anything, you didn't rewind, but all of a sudden you're on Twitter and you're like, someone scored, and you're waiting 2 minutes of game time for a goal. And I just think I'm down to one cable box in my house
Wow.
upstairs. So down in the basement right here, I got a Roku, and like in the other TV, I got
Hmm.
I got a Roku, and it's like you got to stream all these things. Which, first of all, you never stay logged in, whether it's like CBS, NBC, ESPN. Like it's always like, oh, I would like to watch this game. It's like, well, log in, get your phone out,
Hmm.
type in the code, and it's like I
You know
logged
who's
in
the worst
yesterday.
about that?
Everyone,
Nesson is the absolute worst about it.
Nesson makes you do it a lot. The CBS app, I have to literally sign out every time because it never works, and now I can say that because I don't work there anymore.
Yeah.
But the point is, you're never. I wrote about this after the first Prime game, I think,
Mm.
that the Patriots played in, where it's like the communal experience is eroding, where
Right.
you can't do a group text during a game because everyone's at a different point, not
Yeah.
because they rewound or anything, just because their stream when they logged in and how it
Right.
is.
It
And
might have paused for a second. Yes.
even last night, I was at NBC Sports Boston and there was a Celtics preseason game, and all around the newsroom, there's like everyone is at a different time in the
Yeah.
game. And it's probably not the biggest issue in the universe, but in terms of sports watching, it's really eroding the communal experience, which is like there aren't many of those left in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
Like you used to pull up to a red light, right? And you'd be listening to a song on the radio, and the person next to you might be listening it too. That's not how everyone's got their individualized podcasts and
Right.
music and everything. And it's
Oh
like,
yeah. I even think about like the Sunday night HBO shows. Like
yeah,
you're watching Task or something. It's
you
like,
can't tweet about it. You
well, I
can't
mean,
talk about it online.
I don't watch that show until Tuesday night because I'm watching football on Sunday night and Monday night, and my
Task is
wife
so
is
good.
my wife is nice enough to wait. Did you watch The Chair Company this week?
I did. Yeah. It's insane. I can't believe I'm happy that it happened. I can't believe these networks and movie companies are just giving Tim Robinson a blank check and full creative control and being like, what you got? I
Yeah, it's
can't believe
wild.
it. It's going
I
to be a great show.
It is gonna be a great show. I'm glad that it's like, yeah. So
But you're right. I remember I didn't
yeah,
watch Game of Thrones, but I would not go on Twitter on Sunday nights because it was all Game of Thrones.
right.
And I was like,
Yeah,
well, I don't really care about this.
right.
And that is slowly going away from us. And I don't know. It just feels like maybe we're being old 86 fuddy duddies. But I like the idea that millions of people are doing the same thing at once and can experience it together and can talk about it together. And in the streaming era, it's really impossible.
I think that we need to find a balance between streaming and cable because like cable in itself has also kind of eroded where like watching something on demand is such a bigger pain in the ass than just going to a streaming service and booting it up. But if
Also, picture quality. Like I watch football on cable so I can rewind and everything.
right,
It looks like crap compared to, full HD streaming, 4K, whatever. Like my
right,
cable box on like, I don't know, Fox does it, I guess, sometimes. But the Patriots last week looked like garbage because it's, the 10th CBS crew at a game.
right. And I also I think that if someone invented cable right now and was like, "Hey, you could get every single channel and streaming service and you could watch live TV and you can rewind it and do all these things," people would be like, "Oh my God, how much do I sign up for that?" It would, but like, we need to find a balance here between the two because I'm just one of those morons who's like, okay, I'll have both because I just want to be able to watch everything.
Mm.
Um, and I want to be able to watch live sports without a delay. But no, I don't know. We got to figure something out. And I'm not going to be Felger and Maz doing the apps bitching because I think that, um,
I just want to stay logged in. Like if I log in,
yeah,
give me a month before I have to
because
log
I
in
don't
again.
mind having the apps. I think there's I can handle them. Like I know
But
which ones I have.
let's say you want to watch baseball and football at the same time and you're on an app
No,
TV.
that's an issue. Yeah.
I will say I have Apple TV on one TV, so you can double tap the home button and switch apps, sort of like your phone.
Right.
So that alleviates it a little, but it's still
Yeah.
not last,
No,
last,
it's not
last.
perfect. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. There was a game this year, it might have been the Bills game, where this happens on Sunday Night Football a lot. The delay just on cable is like
Mm.
a minute. Oh, excuse me.
Mm.
So I think like all you folks were like touchdown so and so,
Oh,
and you're just waiting like, oh, I'm 2 plays away from that.
interesting.
Which happens
Yeah.
sometimes. Sometimes you're
Yeah.
in Sunday Night Football and you're in the press box and you want to watch a replay and you look up and it's like 2 plays ago and you're like, I'm gonna
Oh,
forget to watch the replay.
that's one of my biggest pet peeves
Yeah,
is when that happens and like the the game on TV is a full play behind. So if you want to rewatch the play, you have to miss the actual live action.
yeah.
It's
You ever
infuriating.
you ever this is a genius Mike Hurley brain situation. Have you ever, please say yes, have you ever been at a game physically in person, whether as a paying customer or in the press
Mhm.
box, where a football or baseball or hockey game is happening right in front of your face? There's people doing it. And I don't know if you see a tweet or something and your brain thinks like, oh, I must be behind because I haven't seen that yet or something like that. And then you're like, Michael, you aren't behind. You can't be behind. It's right there. Like it's somewhere
I
in
was
my
having that thought in
brain.
New Orleans. I forget like what the specific instance was, but I did have that thought. Yes.
You're like, oh, I must be behind. And then you're like, oh my God, I need to see a doctor.
I think one of them was like if you NFL Jesus, NFL GSIS
Yeah.
updates very fast sometimes.
Yes.
And I think that was the moment that I was like, "Oh, am I behind?" No, I'm not behind. I just saw that live with my eyes.
You can't be
Um,
behind. Sometimes I want to rewind real life too. Can't do it.
yeah. Ball is Life asked, "What's the most pop punk position in football?" I feel like skill position, but not receiver.
Long haired tight end, maybe
I was thinking maybe tight end.
like a
Yeah,
long
slot
hair.
receiver maybe.
Yeah. You got to be like have like, I don't know. What was that tight end in the preseason 10 years ago? Jake. He had the cool long hair. He looked like Eddie Vedder. Had a touchdown. Patriots.
Jake.
He was a maybe it wasn't Jake. He was like a preseason darling. Patriots preseason star tight end. I don't
Are you
know.
saying like 10 years ago?
It was a long time ago.
Sudfeld?
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
Jake
yeah.
Jake
Yeah.
Sudfeld, right? He had
No, Zach
long
Sudfeld.
Zach Sudfeld, like
Yeah.
flowing locks,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, you
right?
could see him get in the pit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, receivers too diva-ish for a pop
Outside
player.
receiver, yes. Maybe slot receiver.
Could be. Could be.
What's like the most like DIY position there is?
Oh, like
Um,
kind of like Robert Spillane, like just a tackle eater,
right. Yeah.
Someone who's just like in the pit, literally lives in the pit.
Yeah.
Probably is familiar with doing some random. Maybe he'll just work that into the mode. I had a
Yeah.
speaking of the music industry,
Hmm.
we've talked about Taylor Swift. We won't do another whole Taylor Swift segment, but I saw a thing that was so disgusting. Okay,
Yes. Then we
this
gotta
is
go.
from this is from Billboard. Life of a Showgirl's first week sales were fueled by 34 different versions
Oh my
of
god.
the Life of a Showgirl, 27 physical iterations, which was 18 CDs, 8 vinyl APs, and 1 cassette, and 7 download variants, not counting clean and explicit editions for wide digital retail. It's like she knows she has these psychotic, obsessed fans who might buy all 27 physical CDs and
Yeah.
records. That's sick. Like, that's
It's
just,
bad.
you're a
It's
bad
bad.
person.
It's
This is,
rough.
I'm willing to say
Especially
she's a
when you
bad person.
release all of them like for pre-order before the album even comes out.
And you're
And
like
like
24 hours to do it. The
yeah. Oh
clock's
god, can you
ticking.
even imagine the stress? Like I obviously these if you're that big of a fan, like you're bringing it upon yourself. But if you're like a completionist with Taylor Swift, can you imagine the stress of trying to get all those?
Right. And she's exploiting their love of her. And I think
Yeah.
that's pretty crappy. And I'm willing to say it, Taylor. Smarten up, Don't be a jerk.
It doesn't have to be that way.
That being said, Pat's chat will now cost $50 per episode. Send it directly to me, not Doug.
We're going to release different variants where we say something slightly different
I'm gonna wear
on
my hat
Apple, on
sideways.
Spotify, on YouTube, on Google Podcasts, but you have to listen to all of them to be able to get everything that we're saying.
You can actually download us now on Zune. We'll be straight to Zune, so you got to go buy one
Yeah.
of those.
You can buy us on cassette tape. We're going to start releasing these on cassette tape.
Yeah, come get them out of our trunks.
You'll get them 2 weeks late. It's not ideal, but
Yeah.
it's the way it's going to be.
And interestingly, in all of that, I would have bought the clean CD for my daughter because
Mm-hmm.
this CD, dirty rotten, this album. But she doesn't have one. You would think if you're printing like 40 CDs, one would be clean. Nope.
That's strange.
Very strange.
Interesting.
Bad
All
person.
right.
Bad person.
It's the headline. All right. We'll talk to you guys after Sunday's game. We'll be on here around 8 or 9, something like that. Goodbye.